Were you satisfied with what you heard from Vladimir Putin yesterday?
Well, I think it was a very useful meeting. First of all, because it was possible to tell President Putin the same things I say in New York, or I'll be able to say here in Kiev, which means that the Russian invasion is against the Charter of the United Nations. It's a violation of the territorial integrity of the Ukraine, and that this war must end as quickly as possible. And at the same time, our concerns about the violations of international humanitarian law, human rights law, the possibility of war crimes. So I could express these concerns very clearly, very openly, and at the same time had a very serious discussion on how we can at least minimize some of the most dramatic situations. And I concentrated my efforts in humanitarian aid and evacuations, corridors, and in particular, the situation of the civilians that are trapped in the steel factory in Mariupol.
There may be as many as 1,000 civilians in there at last count. The humanitarian corridors, it has been very frustrating, obviously, for Ukrainians trying to get out. Russia says the corridors are open, and yet Ukrainian officials say they continue to bomb in locations, or the corridors may be open, but heading only to Russia. Do you believe Vladimir Putin would allow civilians in Mariupol to leave to Ukraine?
Let's be clear. President Putin agreed with me in principle that we would have, with the support of the UN and the support of the International Committee of the Red Cross, that we would have the evacuation of those civilians into the territory controlled by the Ukrainian government. And we have been working on the details. At the present moment, they are being discussed in Moscow between the Ministry of Defense and our people, here also in contact with the government of Ukraine, to see if we can have a situation in which nobody can blame the other side for things not happening.
Short of a nuclear risk, you testified before Congress a short time ago that the potential for significant international conflict is increasing, not decreasing. I'm quoting you. Since then, Russia has issued a diplomatic protest to the U.S. and NATO to stop its weapons shipments. Has that increase in military support, in your view, increased the danger of direct conflict between the U.S. and Russia?
Yeah, I actually think it's the opposite. I think that what's at stake here is much greater than Ukraine. What's at stake is the security of Europe. This is the greatest challenge to the security of Europe since the end of World War II. And indeed, you can easily make the case that what's at stake is the global international security order that was put in place in 1945. That international order has lasted 78 years. It's prevented great power war. And underlining that entire concept is the idea that large nations will not conduct military aggression against smaller nations. And that is exactly what's happened here, an unprovoked military aggression by Russia against a smaller nation. So if this is left to stand, if there is no answer to this aggression, if Russia gets away with this cost-free, then so goes the so-called international order. And if that happens, then we're entering into an era of seriously increased instability. So right now, now is the time, and right now is the opportunity here to stop aggression and to restore peace and security to the European continent.
I cannot say that we were expecting, but it was quite easy to predict that Russia may use energy resources as a weapon to blackmail us. That's why, to secure our energy security, we've taken those decisions. Right now, we are in much better position, although I can imagine that not only Poland can be blackmailed with such a step. It is a sign towards Germany and other countries. They should really diversify also their routes of energy. It shouldn't be that much dependent on Russian gas.
Now, they, I'm sure, have the intention of doing this as quickly as possible, but this doesn't happen overnight. Are you worried, as some observers and analysts have said, that this is a move by Russia to essentially divide Europe between countries that have the ability to withstand a cut of natural gas exports from Russia and those who don't have necessarily that ability because they do not have alternatives like Germany? How concerned are you that this will be the end result of this move?
Oh, definitely. Russia likes this principle divide et impera, to divide us and then get its political goals. That's why we need the unity. We need to express our solidarity. That is what we've been warning our partners and allies, that Russia may weaponize this energy resources, gas supplies,